everybody. Welcome back to the Smokin' Studios for another live episode of the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight, I've got two very good friends of mine. Now, I will say, since Alex popped his cherry and came out a little bit ago, we're going to have him on all the time. It's going to be great. He loves it. He's going to jump on as much as Kevin will, which Kevin always is up for a good Thursday night show. So without any further ado, because nobody comes here to listen to me talk, that's for fucking sure. Let's go ahead and bring in the duo for tonight. We've got Kevin and Alex. How you doing, brother?
What is happening?
We've got fireside chat Kevin tonight. I feel like he should have a fireplace going where the white door is over his shoulder.
I my back hurts, so I had to turn the camera around, and I got my pillow. So it's actually that I don't think I could have sat in my other chair for a couple hours tonight.
Well, listen, man, it's like we said before the show, Kev. It's nice to be able to do a show and not have to press any of the.
Oh, I know, not have to read comments. Yeah, that's it.
And Kevin always I make my show very difficult. Like, I mean, I've got all the buttons in the world. It looks like a fucking cockpit right here, you know? Yeah. But, you know, however, thank you all very much thank you to both of you for coming on the show tonight to just kind of shoot the shit and kick it around. So before we get kicked off, let's jump into the only segment that we do here on the show, the What Are You Smoking Tonight part of the show, which we will start it off with Kevin. What are you smoking, brother?
I got a couple of tatuajes for tonight because I have become what I have despised, a tatuaje hoarder. I'm
a tat hoarder too.
Oh, I didn't, you know, it's gotten bad over the last like 2 years, man. It's just now I've got so many. I've got more tatuajes than I know what to do with. So I'm starting off tonight with my favorite, and actually one of Pete's favorite is the Cabaguan.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Alex, what are you smoking, brother?
I'm actually going to smoke my Wawa Coffee Dark Roast, which would be the Bellas Artes Maduro. As everybody on KMA knows, Bellas Artes Natural is my Wawa
That's
coffee.
A go-to. Yeah.
Great cigar.
You know, I got to say, Kevin, it's very easy to become a tatuaje hoarder because I don't know what it is, but Pete cigars just age really well.
It's Nicaraguan tobacco ages the best, though, right?
Yeah, but listen, you can't age a Padron like you can age a Tatuaje.
Okay.
Pete cigars it's like they're made to be aged, man. Tatuaje ages so well.
Does my father, in your opinion, age as equivalency as Tatuaje?
You know, that's a good question that I can't answer.
I don't think so because I think Tatuaje ages so well is because they start off so bold and strong. So, you know, when you age them and they kind of mellow out, so you can have a Tatuaje that's 8-10 years old, and you can have a good medium cigar. It's not going to be bold and spicy and, you know, full of nicotine as it once was, but you're still going to have a fantastic cigar.
Sure. Okay, so it'll hold up a little bit better. Well, I am smoking the I'm always going to butcher all this stuff. The Nakatamale.
Great cigar.
So
solid.
I went to the deep cuts pack. I was going through. I like having multiple humidors as well as you guys, I'm sure, too, in your house. Well, before we get into this, thank you very much, Steve Saka, for sponsoring the What Are You Smoking Tonight part of the show. One of the things I've actually enjoyed as Kevin sits in front of his massive walk-in humidor and then his other one over his shoulder is having multiple humidors, because I don't go to my coolador very often because it's over here. My desk is over there because I moved everything in the office, right? I forget what's over here sometimes, and it's not even like it's that far of a walk. I just don't come over here much. And I found the deep cuts in there, like halfway down. So I was like, okay. We're gonna pull this out.
Probably like 6 or 7 years ago, I lost a Dunbarton a small cooler door with probably a couple $1,000 worth of Dunbarton in there, and I lost it. Like, luckily I had Boveda in there, and it was like, you know, every now and then I'm like, man, I could have sworn I had more Dunbarton, and then I don't know, year and a half later, like I found it buried underneath some stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, there it is. And luckily I opened it up. Bovedas were all still good, and I'm like, oh crap. I mean, I know it's first world problems when you misplace a humidor full of Dunbarton and you really don't miss it.
Well, you know you've got a lot of cigars when you misplace a humidor and don't miss it.
Yeah, that's it. It's insane. These are all Jessica's humidor. Well, I think the one, two of them have all cigar prop stuff in here, but this one directly over my shoulder, it's Jessica's humidor, and then she's got a stand up humidor in our bedroom, So and then the walk in humidor is pretty much mine.
Nice. If you guys haven't already, whatever you're smoking tonight, drop it in the comment section. Let's see what everyone's smoking. No, I mean, did you ever give away your big 7-foot tall Winador that you converted?
No, that's Jessica's humidor now.
Oh,
so
I thought the one behind was Jessica's.
Oh no, that big one behind me now is just like a knickknack we got just a bunch of stuff in that one. And then but yeah, this one right here is Jessica's. Yes, yeah. So yeah, we got humidors everywhere.
Alex, how many humidors you got at the house? What is it a 25 count, 50 count, 100 count?
100 count. I have 100 count. I mean, listen, dude, I live 3 minutes from smoking. So I have, stuff that sits in there that doesn't, that'll get smoked eventually. And, I stock up once a week. I don't hold a lot of shit. It sits and smoke in. I can't humidify it any better than Abe can in his shop. So
exactly, and if you're not like in the business, like, we get so many free cigars, they just start piling up, but I tell everybody, like, if you have, 100 count, 300 at most, like 300 is too many for the average person. Like you just won't smoke them all. You start collecting, a nice little 100 count, 150 count. That's all you need. As it gets low, you restock it with a few things, buy some 5-packs here and there, and you're good, because it's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah, like, listen, I agree, man. At most, the average person, maybe you need two. You have one for the shit that, you want to save, you don't want to smoke, and then you have one for your regular shit. But yeah, the average guy at most needs two. But a good 100, 200, you're good. You're good.
That's it.
A lot of cigars. 200 cigars, a lot of cigars to have at one time.
It's a ton of cigars. I mean, I have a 1,500 count humidor from New Air when they were a sponsor. The show they were kind enough to send over. I wouldn't have bought it if they didn't send it to me. I'll just be upfront, and I say that to everybody because they see it and they're like, "Oh, it's super expensive."
I'm also a pig too. If it's, I want to smoke it. I don't want to save it.
Well, no, you know what I enjoy though about having this many cigars, Kevin, I think I've even talked to you about this, is forgetting about what you have and like finding it again. Like that's like, I have a box unopened of the Secreto from Adventura TGS. What was that, circa 2023 22? I have an unopened box at the bottom of my humidor. Like I'm gonna open it, but like I enjoy digging through and seeing what's there that I forgot about.
No, I get it. My problem is I'm spoiled. I get to go do that at Smoke In.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I go up there. Oh, look at this box of Todos Los Dias double wides I just find. Ain't nobody getting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your is the rare and aged room.
Exactly. And my problem is half the time I smoke like cheap cigars because I don't have time to post. Because I feel bad. Like if I go and I want a Dunbarton Sober Mesa Solita Red. It's like, oh, I don't have time to post a picture on Instagram, so I don't smoke it because I can't post a picture of it, and it drives me insane. That to smoke a really nice cigar. Because if you didn't post it on Instagram, did you really smoke it? Of course you didn't.
Right.
But and it's just it's all in my own head, as well. And then sometimes it's like, who do I owe a picture to? Like Alex, you got so many friends in this industry, and it's like,
right.
oh,
I never want to feel like you shorted somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I haven't given Terrence Riley a shout out in a while. Let me smoke let me smoke something from Aganorsa. Let me smoke something, from this company. And it's like, I really don't want to smoke this tonight. It's a good cigar, but I'm not in the mood. But I'm like, I kind of owe them, so I'll smoke it anyways. And
Well,
I get that same thing with like when there's events at the shop or even smaller events. It's like I didn't plan on smoking that, but they're here, so
yeah. You got
so yeah, that's what I'm smoking.
Yeah, you got to smoke it. Yeah.
and I also do like, again, having the storage. I tell everybody, like one of my close friends, well, Jeremy Dasher,
Yeah.
Jeremy Dasher.
Yeah.
He's got like, I don't know, 14, 15 of those plastic airtight human Tupperdoors that he's done.
Yeah.
And they're laid all over the house. I asked him several times, I was like, dude, why don't you just get a central spot? He goes, because I don't want my wife to know how many cigars I have. So he's like, I got a box under my desk. I got a couple boxes in the closet, some under my bed. He goes, I don't think she's seen them in one place all at one time.
Yeah, it gets a little sketchy. Yeah.
It's fun having multiple humidors. Now, Alex, does your wife smoke cigars?
Nah.
Okay, she never got into it.
Not a bit. Never got into it, which is funny because she could probably like talk to manufacturers and understand the business better than most, but doesn't smoke cigars whatsoever.
Yeah, people always say, "Oh, Kevin, you're so lucky. Jessica smokes cigars," and it's not so bad now because we do get a large supply. She works for Smoke Inn, she gets a discount, everything else. But at the beginning, I'm like, "Oh, is it nice? Is it nice doubling how many cigars you buy each month?
Yeah,
is that nice?" I mean, during COVID, when everybody had all the deals, I mean, she was spending probably $500 or $600 a month, on cigars. Like just because you couldn't pass up some of these deals sometimes.
I know it's a good time to buy cigars.
It was so good. Sometimes 60% off. You're like, oh God, it's like they're paying me. I'll let me pick some up.
See, I'm okay with that. Like, I love, everybody knows I'm going through a divorce right now, so I'm not doing that anymore. But I always enjoyed, when I would buy a box or something and she would smoke it and we would buy another box. It was just kind of a fun thing, but it does certainly get expensive. I mean, my ex, all she smoked was Dunbarton. So it gets expensive. It gets pricey.
Sure it does.
It does. It gets very pricey. But speaking of things doing together with your husband and wife, Kev, at least I saw it. I don't know, Alex, if you went and checked it out, or no, you did see the fat one. Kevin, you didn't know it was posted.
Yeah.
But we all saw that you went to Weird Al last night. Tell it, how was it? Like, is he still what you would have expected? Is he still good?
Yeah, he puts on a great show. It wasn't as good of a show as I would hope for because, I hear the same complaints when people go see like their dream band that they've always wanted to see or performer. And then like mix in some like new stuff with their old stuff. Like, listen here, dude, play your old stuff. That's what we're here, for. You either play Freebird or you get the hell out of here, So yeah, mixing in new stuff, old stuff, the show was absolutely great, but yeah, it's heard, like I said, Fat was and then he had played like some of the songs that were like a compilation, like he would start off like 30 seconds of one song and it would go into like 30 or 45 seconds of another song. So he didn't play a lot of full or perform a lot of
kind
full
of mixed
songs,
them together.
Yeah, but he did, he did Word Games. He did Amish Paradise, which was great.
Yes.
Everybody loves Amish Paradise. So he did do like 4 or 5 like complete songs, and it was good. It was I wasn't a big fan of Puddle's Pity Party beforehand. Jessica wasn't really quite sure what that was going to be about either, but she really enjoyed that. Puddles, I don't know. Some creepy clowns singing, it was it was okay, but I was surprised. I looked over several times and she's not like the biggest Weird Al fan. She doesn't know a lot of his songs, but she was having a really good time. Like she was just laughing and that was really cool that we got to share. I got to share my love of Weird Al with her, and I mean, she was just
And
having
she had a good
so,
time. Absolutely.
so much fun, and that, you know, and it was great.
No, that's awesome. I always loved Weird Al. The whole debacle with Amish Paradise and how Coolio was like, Coolio was upset with him over it because they asked the studio, like, I always thought he was incredibly talented. And it takes a special type of artist to completely rework a song to where, like, most covers suck. And I'm not saying that everything he did was a hit, but the ones that hit were huge. I mean, almost to some extent are like synonymous with the actual song itself. Like, I can't think of Fat, or I can't think of Eat It without thinking of Fat. And in fact, I know Fat better than I know Eat It, you know, or Beat It. Sorry. So it's just, to me, it was, I like knowing that he's still out there, and he seems to be moving around with that fat suit pretty good still.
He does. Did either of you see the Weird Al movie, the biopic that came out?
Yes, I enjoyed
Like,
that.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, with
It's
Harry Potter kid.
Yeah, it was Daniel Radcliffe played Weird Al. You know, so it was a biopic, but it was just what he thought his life was like, and it was hilarious. It was a great movie, and you just laughed the entire time.
You know,
No, I thought it
he's
was
an
good.
interesting character because, like, what is he? He's not really a comedian. He's like a parody guy. He's a musician, but it's not really his thing. He's not known. You know what I mean? He's like,
Yeah.
where do you put Weird Al? He's not really a singer. He's not really a comedian. He's really his own thing, man. He really is. The guy made a career of his own thing.
He is, and other people have done parody songs, but nobody has ever made a career out of it, has done as well as he has. And then when he's gone, like, there's nobody that's going to take his place.
There's no backfill.
Yeah.
Like, what was the earlier one? Doctor Strange talked about it in the biopic. The radio guy that he was a big fan of.
It was
Dr. Demento.
Dr. Demento's where he got his start, because he played Another One Rides the Bus.
Yeah, and there's nothing like that today. I mean, you're right, Kevin. There's no parody guys. There's no
that do solely
guys.
parody. Yeah,
there's no parody guys anymore.
Yeah,
you know. But no, I mean, he's got to be like 65. The fact that fat suit, he jumped around in that fat suit like he was still a young man. That thing does not look light.
No.
Looks a lot better than Frankie Valli on stage. Anybody seen?
Oh my God! Well,
it's a shame for that guy, man. Whoever's dragging that guy out on stage, they're going to hell.
The mob. Whoever's mob.
Yeah, whoever's thawing him out once a week, you know, and then shooting him up with some adrenaline a little bit,
something for 30-second set,
adrenaline
or whatever it is.
That's adrenaline.
Yeah,
the guy looks like Mr. Burns.
Well, guy comes out
and
they wheel him out.
And
oh my God!
He doesn't even try to move his mouth anymore. And
yeah, they got to wheel him out like Silence of the Lambs. You know, they got to wheel him out on a car.
There, the music plays, and he rolls away.
It just who's thinking that's okay? And what crowd is going to see Frankie Valli? I know. I love OG Frankie Valli, but, like, you know, his genre, they're all 80, 90 years old as well.
Right. They're having a hard time getting there too, right? Who's going to these concerts?
Yeah, who's
big
going?
Fans of Grease is probably going to these concerts.
Clearly.
You know? I couldn't believe, but I guess I don't know anything about Frankie Valli's backstory or anything, but I guess he got heavy debts to the mob or something like that he's acquired through his lifetime from the way the rumors go. And so they're like, the mob's got a gun to his head in every show, like, you got another one. Another one. You got 20 more points. You got 20 more points.
You know, it's nuts.
So, well, what do you guys got going on for this week? How's your guys' week been? Has it been a light week, easy week? Kevin's in pain, so we're gonna get the breakdown of that.
No, I mean we're coming off Memorial Day weekend. I didn't work Monday. It's one of those behind weeks for me. I don't catch up until next week. But no, I didn't have much going on outside of just work shit. I didn't realize it was like tomorrow was Friday, and I couldn't get the days right for half the fucking week because Tuesday was Monday, Wednesday was
That's
Tuesday.
what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It was the same with us. Like I said, I had to work Monday, but it was really slow. So it really wasn't a Monday. Then we went to the then we went to the concert midweek last night, and now, like I said, tomorrow's Friday, and I'm like, what? How is it Friday?
What's going on? What is it?
Yeah, so yeah,
Saturday's like June. Saturday's fucking June already.
Yeah. That's it. Right now, it feels like it's Thursday in a March, but Saturday's June already. I'm like,
Saturday's June 1st.
Yeah, like what?
My daughter turns 5 next month. I can't believe it. Where's the time freaking gone? But it's insane. It's insane.
It flies. So yeah, but yeah, just another week. Doing some 3D printer maintenance before before we got on the show tonight. So I got some big jobs. Abe had called me up, and he's got some.
I was there for that call.
Yeah, so he's got some stuff that lined up that he wants to do. So, and then Evan Darnell's got some stuff for me, and Sinistro's got a couple big jobs lined up. So,
nice. So I'm curious. That Nintendo style box you did,
yeah,
super original. Is like the industry calling you now for like either understanding of how to do it themselves, direction, or like, is this going to be like a full spin-off business for you at this point? I assume it's got to be close to it.
There's more money in 3D printing than cigars. I can tell you that, so yes.
No, we give credit to Kevin, man, for really 100%.
He started this
in our industry. Kevin busted through.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
right after PCA, I got a call
this
from
PCA.
For this PCA, got a call from a company, and they saw some stuff I did, and I designed something super, super cool for them, and it's gonna blow people's minds when they see it. It's pretty badass. But so we've got that. People are calling me. I'm doing some work for other companies that are do some like our Artista. Ram probably doesn't care that I tell people like he does a lot of his 3D printing in the Dominican Republic, and he got backed up on a couple of jobs, where he couldn't produce, fast enough. And he was shipping his stuff from the DR to his warehouse in Miami. So he's like, hey, can you dock this job out for me? This 500 pieces, 1,000 pieces, whatever, and just ship it down to Miami. I'm like, yeah, piece of cake. I can do it a lot faster than he can. So, so it's things like that. I've done a couple jobs like that for other people that have gotten backed up, and then they just reach out to me to, to help them get caught up. So, which is nice.
So the real question becomes, this is the real question. How long is it till Kevin's got a booth at PCA?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask.
I mean, seriously. You're already in there with relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and right now, we're at our point. Like it's tough right now for me to take anything else. Like if you came to me and you wanted something like
machines.
I have like these 300 things that I have made, and it's just like I'm probably looking at August, before I can probably start on another job, and it's just I have 5. I honestly I need 5 more, but right now I'm happy running 5, and it's just you get too big, and I don't know, it's in the future.
Are they basically running 24 hours a day at this point?
Yeah, I've got like a little lull for like this week and next week. I've got like a couple prototypes I got to get Abe, and a couple prototypes I got to get everybody else. So but I'm in a little bit of a lull right now. I mean, I have thousands of pieces to print, but I'm waiting on final numbers from a couple people. We did the prototypes, sent them, hey, these are good. We're going to go for these. I just need to get you the numbers. I'm like, all right, just get me the numbers, and then I'll get you my timeline. So, we've got quite a few jobs. That's what we're waiting on. So a little bit every day, I'm just doing a little bit of machine maintenance and cleaning, greasing, changing some parts, that way when we do ramp up, it's there'd be no downtime for shit breaking because something's always going on.
I don't.
Of course.
How like is this something you see as being like an early retirement? Because I asked the question in a very serious way because what I totally agree with Alex. I think over especially the last couple of years when you first started doing it, people kind of maybe looked at it as gimmicky but then they actually I feel got to see what you were able to pull off in like a really really nice interesting cool box at PCA this year. And I think this year kind of showcased that a lot. I think you would agree. I would hope you would agree with me over previous years.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
so then are you looking at like if this pans out, say you get 5 more, say you get 10 more, like would this be something you would do an early retirement and just do a 3D printing shop?
Yeah, I could see this getting me out of the mechanic industry before the cigars got me out, and it's
Sure.
and it's like anything else. It's the one reason we've survived so long, and or not survive, have excelled is because we're always watching trends. I'm always looking for the new thing, and I'm always able to kind of keep my finger on the pulse of the industry and just change as fast as I can. And this is I saw this coming and I'm like, man, I got to get one. I think this is gonna be good. And nobody else is really doing anything yet. They will, and then I'll
Sure.
just I'll do something else, and along the 3D printer, and maybe add like some laser engraving or laser etching or some CNC milling, doing some other stuff. So yeah, I could definitely see this taking off more, and it's fun. But and I think the one, well, and I don't think, I know the one reason I do get so much work is because you know Kara and I have talked about on our show, we hate using, not hate, but we don't use mom and pop businesses anymore, because mom and pop business, you can't give them your money, because nobody wants to work. People always advertise, hey, I want to do this, I want to, I'm capable of this, I'm capable of doing that, and I go, hey, I want to do this, and can you make me a prototype? 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, you still don't have anything, and it's just irritating. I've got half a dozen projects with different people that it's over a year, and it's like, if they came to me with the prototype, like, I don't want it now. It just sucks. But so people say, like when like Abe came to me, like, I don't know, a week ago, he's like, hey, I need a project. I need this done, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. I'll get my design guy on it. And it's like on a Wednesday. And I'm like, I'll get it. I'll print it on the Friday, get it in the mail on Saturday. You'll have it on your desk Monday morning. He had it on his desk Monday morning when he walked in, because, if I say I can do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it fast, and it's going to be good. And, and it's not something that people are used to in this industry, because what we all work on Nicaraguan time, Dominican time, when you need a band, a box, a cigar, it just, you don't know when you're going to get it. You just give them your money and hope you get it eventually.
I don't think people understand how that works. Like,
yeah,
Nicaraguan time, Dominican time, that's a real thing. You want to know when it's really real? The fucking holidays. You want Christmas cigars? Guess what? Every fucking factory in Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and everywhere else in Central America is closed for about a month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you know what you do? You try to order early, or you just deal with it until they come back open. No, we operate on their time.
That's it. And if you want like 100 boxes for like a small run, no, that's not happening. Yeah, 100. I'll put those in the maybe a year I can get those to you, and they wonder why you're seeing more and more companies going overseas, going to China, going to Taiwan, the Philippines, on getting boxes and bands and everything else. And it just, Nicaraguan time is real, man. Honduras time, that it is real.
It certainly it is. And that's why I think you kind of put yourself in like a really niche product here, and in a niche space within a niche space itself, right? I doubt this is a thing, but I don't even know if this is possible. I'm sure it is, but you got to have probably a hell of a 3D printer. But I assume he's asking if you can print in physical metal, not like print something in and around metal, I assume is what he's asking.
They do make metal 3D printers. It's called metal sintering. And I would like to have one. And the machines have come way down. I mean, they're no longer $100,000 machine, but they're still a $15,000 machine that will print in metal, and that's just, and they do have some materials that include like carbon fiber. It's like a specialty ABS that has carbon fiber in it that, like, when you hit it, it sounds like metal, like it's ultra durable.
That's
But
crazy.
but yeah, so the machines are coming down in pricing. So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
eventually,
What's
even
something like
like
that cost?
what's that? The machines?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're about $15,000 right now. Depending on the machine. If you want like a production level one where you're cranking out parts, you're probably going to still spend $25,000. Like those $15,000 machines are still like basic machines, but that's for places that need to do a single prototype before they send it to a machine shop, to have it milled out of real metal,
Wow.
like a chunk. You're not, you're really not doing mass production, with those machines right now. It'll get there.
It's just crazy to me, like all this technology and stuff coming around all this printing and what you could print and what you could do with them now and what you can make without having to put anything together is just crazy to me. You're watching people make full armor suits that just snap together. I mean, Alex, has this ever been something that like you've ever considered playing with in your world just for fun with the kids?
I had a whole text conversation with Kevin. I was on the cusp. I probably still am on the cusp. At some point, I went for a camera instead. I got into photography, but it's coming. Eventually, it'll come around because I'm into it. I am. I'm like, I try to like check in. I look. I don't have one yet, but I will.
Is this something that you would get your son into, like it's like a father-son hobby for him to make little trinkets and toys and stuff?
I mean, maybe if he was into it. I don't really force it. My kid's a sports kid. That's what he is, But if he was into it, yeah, I would. I think he might get into it a little bit. He likes that stuff. He's a Roblox Minecraft kind of guy. So this is like the next evolution for that shit, really. Like, okay, cool. You can build shit in, the video game. Now you can build real shit.
Correct.
Oh yeah. Say my granddaughter, she's always got having me make an axolotl, here and there, different characters, and she's like, "Grandpa has a machine that can print toys," and I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Grandpa is Santa.
Yeah.
Well, we have a request here for you, Kev. Richard Beard is opening up his new business, and he was wondering if there would be a way maybe you'd be able to squeeze him in at some point for a necklace for his business.
Oh yeah, piece cake. Necklaces are easy. Those are quick. So yeah, just have them reach out to me.
Those were everywhere in TGS. All the necklaces you made this year, those were everywhere.
Yeah.
They looked heavy until you actually held them.
Oh they
were pretty thick. So, well, how is that 10-year anniversary coming along, Kevin? And when is that available for purchase already?
Yeah, it's on the website. It's been on the website for a month.
How is it doing?
It's doing good. So I really wanted to offer them at a really good price. So I made the boxes like $5 extra in case anybody really wanted to buy a box. And I'm sorry, and I always wondered that, if people would pay or want to buy cigars and not get the box. Half of the people, I'd say more, maybe probably 60% of the people have opted not to buy a box, the 3D printed box, because it's only an additional $5, but people are like, they didn't want a box. They didn't want another box. And then I'm selling more boxes separately than I am the cigars. People want the box. Yeah. People want the box. Oh, that box is super cool. I can keep stuff in it, so I'm selling a lot of boxes.
Now, have you ever considered making like a 3D printed humidor with like an insert for the humidor on the inside?
No, there are certain things like there's so many humidors out there. There's so many travel humidors. It's just like, like I sell like I from Harbor Freight, they're Apache, they're, like their rugged boxes. I sell one of those with some 3D printed cigar trays inside of it. But to make a whole humidor, go to Amazon, buy one. It's just certain things that I don't like doing what everybody already had. Everybody's got, how many 3-finger cases do we all need? How many 5-finger cases? How many cigar tubes?
I have like three 3-finger cases, and I don't think I've used a single one.
Yeah, I know. How many plastic cigar cutters do we all have?
This is my go-to.
Manufacturers stopped giving us those cigar cutters.
Yeah, I mean, this is my go-to.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex, what do you use when you travel?
What do you mean? What do I use?
Do you have a travel humidor that you take with you, or do you just buy cigars where you go?
No, I carry a smoke-in bag. I don't take a travel humidor. It's just another thing. I like to travel light, man, at all times. That's why I like small lighters. I like small wallets. I like to travel light. So, I mean, a travel case is another thing I got to figure out where to stick in a bag. The fucking plastic bag works fine. It's one less thing I got to carry around. I'm a light traveler.
You guys doing anything? Now, one thing I did want to address is, for those of you that are watching, be prepared, because is it Saturday or is it Sunday that SOS starts?
Whatever the first is.
When is June 1st? Is that Sunday?
June 1st is Saturday, I think.
Is June 1st Saturday? So SOS starts Saturday? No, because today's the 28th. Today's the 28th. It starts Monday.
Or Monday. Sorry, did I say Saturday was June 1st?
Yeah, it's the 31st, and then it's Monday.
Monday's June 1st. Okay.
So we've got the
it'll start June 1st, because we like to start it on that Monday.
So, this is very fair. I normally try to have Steve on for the show right before SOS, but I think it's really fitting. What has been your approach, Alex, to when was the first official year of SOS? It was what, 22? This is the fourth year, right, of SOS?
Let's see, 2 watches.
There was the 2 statues.
Fifth year. This will be the 5th year.
It was 21 that started in.
2 watches, 2 statues, and then the original.
So yeah.
So
which kind of became a thing.
What has been something that has surprised you along this way for how the growth of SOS has become? Because I think SOS has, at this point in time, Summer of Soccer, for those of you that do not know what SOS is, which you could check out at Smokin' starting on Monday. What has been something that's actually kind of surprised you in this journey with SOS? Because at this point, he is the biggest Saka seller for sure on a yearly basis. He has to be.
Well, it's not really a surprise now, because at this point it's become a thing, right? Like it's even before summer, people kind of know like Summer of Saka is a thing that will happen this year. Basically Summer of Saka happens is consistently at the Great Smoke at this point, right? We know it's but those first couple years, that next year when we're like, oh, that went great, let's go buy a 7-foot statue to give away. It's like, is this gonna happen again? We're spending $7,000 on a statue. We're doing, so those first couple are like, hope this is still the right move. And I just think right now at this point it's become one of those things, and I think it's very much replaced. Like our big things used to be the holidays, Memorial Day sale, 4th of July sale.
Yeah.
Which we still have, but I think like, and people would know, our customers know, I need to buy, let me wait till Memorial Day, right? Because I'll get a discounted deal. Well, it's kind of the same thing. All right, I got enough stock, let me get enough to get by, but let me stock up in the summertime because I can get all the shit and win some shit and get swag. So it's almost become part of people's calendar. It's a little easier now.
Now, do you think that has kind of, because you hear Steve talk about sometimes where you want people buying all year long? Do you think there is a diminishing returns on the fact of where, now obviously this is not the case. Saka sells like crazy all year long at smoking, right? Like I'm not equating that to this. I'm just saying, do you think perceptually it could get to a point where maybe Saka sales dwindle throughout the rest of the year and mainly only take place in the summertime as more and more people get? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if the final number's the same. A year's a year. You know what I'm saying? You don't look at it in, I'm just throw out numbers. Well, we only sold, we sold $1 million of Saka last year, but this year we only sold $1 million in the summer. We still sold $1 million, and that's I'm just throwing a number out. But you know what I'm saying? As long as it balances out, who cares?
Like, have you guys noticed since Summer of Saka becoming big that people are legitimately waiting for SOS to make their purchases versus the springtime or like TGS? And obviously TGS, he sells out like that, but you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, some people are, but I also think those people, see, there's a lot more people buying Dunbarton products during Summer of Saka that normally probably wouldn't buy Dunbarton products. That makes up for the people that maybe but also look, Steve Saka is one of those guys he's become, because in reality, Steve's company is really not that old in comparison to some companies.
No.
But Steve's become a manufacturer of guys, right? You got Dunbarton guys, and you got Perdomo guys, you got Espinosa guys. Like, these are guys with strong, you got Drew Estate guys. Correct. Steve has guys. So whether Summer of Saka is coming up or not, if they're out of their fucking Sober Mesa, they're ordering that box of Sober Mesa because that's their cigar.
Correct.
He's created that.
Exactly. And one thing that has surprised me, and I know it surprised Jessica, as well, is the amount of people getting baller status each year.
Yes.
And then doing baller each month. And it's just like, it's insane the amount of, people that are doing baller. I'd be interested in seeing the numbers of what those guys spend on Dunbarton throughout the year versus just, is 90% of their Dunbarton business during Summer of Saka, or, is it really only, if they're spending that much during Summer of Saka, is it really only 50% or 25%? Are they continuously buying that much year round? Not at a shot, $1,000 a month, but
we all have a friend here that we all know. I won't mention him by name, but we all know exactly who he is. And I would say he buys all year long. Alex, you would know better than me. I know you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really check.
I would say that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I will say this: a lot of and look, he just has enough of them. But a lot of those people that are hitting like 3-time ballers, they're buying Steve Saka product all year round. Like, there's some guys, like, some of the people I don't know what else they smoke.
Well, I know people that wait to buy a unicorn.
If you spend $3,000 in a 3-month period on Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust cigars, which are great cigars, but like, what else do you really see? You know what I mean? Like,
what do you have time? What do you have time to smoke?
I know people that specifically get the unicorns because of what you said. The unicorns during SOS to make baller level, because they don't have the space to buy all the boxes required to get. So they'll buy a box of unicorns each month, and you're at $1,000 a month. So like, if you're going to do it like that, it's not buying a whole lot, but I mean, that's a ton of money. Cause then there's if you've hit baller status the previous year, you now get an additional coin. Did I see that correctly?
Yeah.
And so yeah, they made new coins for this year's. You won't get an additional black card, obviously, but I mean, listen, people are spending a lot of money. You got to give them something. I mean, we appreciate it, and regardless of everything you get with it. We appreciate the fact that people are spending a lot of money on this product.
Oh, black
Um,
cards are a one-time earn. I
yeah, what are you
thought
gonna do with
those.
2 black cards?
Well, I thought. What do you mean, dude? Soccer people? What do you do with 17 coffee mugs?
No,
They're all
but once,
they're
but
all,
once
they're all
that,
different though.
but that black
I
card comes
see.
with
I
benefits.
see.
That black card comes with benefits. Like the people from last year are going to have some benefits coming from soccer.
Does,
People
does
from
it?
this year,
My Tatuaje NFT anarchy was supposed to come with benefits too. Yeah. Yeah, and
That is
not
true.
just and that's just across the board at that. So yeah, it's
For those of you
like-
watching that do not partake
Are
in
any of you guys?
SOS,
Are you a Saints and Sinners guy, Kevin?
yes.
Have you ever made a Friday drop?
No, nothing's really interesting. Like this past week, it was like $55 a cigar limit too. It's like really,
What? I've never made it. Even ones I would like. I think it was old. He had some Triumphadors. I was like, fuck yeah, it was going in like. 5
oh
minutes.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
can't do that. What the fuck?
that's the
I-
problem
yeah.
with those exclusive clubs, though. There's never enough stuff for everybody in the club to even buy one. Because they outgrow.
That's what it is.
They
But that's what it
outgrow.
is. You know what
Correct.
you're buying into.
But the Tatuaje guys that they're lined up. They know when to pull that
they're
trigger, and they're ready for it. I remember it was years ago when Abe finished up the Connoisseurs Club, and I had come in and bought a lot of Connoisseur Club cigars, lot of them to resell them, and he's like, "What are you gonna do with these?" I'm like, "I'm gonna resell all of them." He's like, "I can't get rid of them," and I'm like, I'll see what I can do, and a lot of, he had a couple hundred Tatuajes, and I'm like, you're an idiot, no. So I didn't say I bought all those along with Foundation, everything else. And I moved all those Tatuajes in like 12 hours.
He did. I had a list. Police for Kevin. And he was like, oh.
Yeah,
Kevin knew what he was doing.
And I told, and it was like one day they went on sale. I sent him next day. I go, sold all the Tatuajes. What? I'm like, Discord, baby. Just hop on there. I'm like, hey, I got some Tatuajes that you can't get and we'll never be able to get. Everybody freaked out, and then paid double the price for all those Tatuajes. They were all gone. I'm like,
So okay, so let's talk about this for a bit, because I'm not a cigar hunter, right? There are people that hunt specific cigars. Do you guys hunt down cigars? Like I wouldn't have cared about Tatuajes that are 5, 6 years old or 10 years old. That wouldn't have interested me because I don't have that drive for that. But do you guys hunt down white whale style cigars?
I don't, and I think being a retailer taints you. It does. It taints you. I got a gazillion cigars at my fingertips. You look at the cigar as a product first, and it's always like you first, and if there's some left, I'll buy some, and that's just the way of life. You guys first, and if there's some left, I'll buy some, and if there's not, there's going to be some other shit that I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like I always have access. I don't really have to hunt it because it's coming to smoke in first. Old shit. Yeah, I just never become a hunter because I have that retailer mind, It does. It changes you.
Now, the retailer mind is it's gone, or like, what do you mean retailer mind?
It's just, look, it's a product. It comes, it goes. I can get a different one. I can get, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you lose. I'll put it to you this way, and it's just true. And I'm sure Kevin can attest to this too, but you do, when you're working in the industry, you lose some of the romance. How often are you smoking a cigar? You don't even know. I mean, look, think about it. Even you, right? Doing shit. How often are you smoking a cigar? You don't even realize you're not enjoying it. You're just smoking a cigar.
You become a little
That's kind of what happens when you work in a cigar shop and you're working, doing shit. You just kind of, you kind of, when it becomes a part of work, not that I still don't enjoy it, but you lose a little bit of the being a fan, being a, hunt and search, go, that kind of shit. There's also shit that I'm like, I'm not going to participate in that. I'd rather, wouldn't be right if, I got it and somebody else didn't. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I still hunt the old stuff, when I walk into a lounge, and if they've got,
that's my hunt. When I walk into a lounge that's not a smoke in, first thing I want to say, all right, what do they have that ain't a smoke in, or that I ain't got?
That's it. There's been times I've walked out of a lounge with 15 or 20 boxes of cigars, like they have some like vintage stuff, I found out with Room 101, the Series HN and SA, went into a lounge and they had like 15 or 20 boxes. And I go, make me a deal on all of them. I'll buy everything that you have. They made me a deal and I walked out with a stack.
So I do. I still like that stuff. Going into a lounge, going into a shop you haven't been. You know what else is still good for that? And I go there fairly often. You just never know what you find in the fucking place because they don't even know what they have. Smoking the water. Smoking the water.
Smoking the water.
$50 or something. But I was there a couple months ago. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that 3 boxes of Old Man in the Sea? Yeah, I'll take all them.
It's
why do you have those?
It makes me like, it makes my palms sweaty walking in there. It's like, it's just like, take a deep breath, just, try not to knock anything over. It's just,
Brian, I don't know if you've ever been to Smoking the Water. Great shop.
No.
But and a big, great humidor, great selection, but it is when I say there's no possible way that they have any type of inventory count or running inventory. It's impossible. The fucking cigars are just everywhere. When Kevin says, I hope I don't want to, because literally cigars are stacked on the floor. I don't want to knock over a fucking
Is there rhyme or reason? Or are they just
maybe?
They're
in order. The Perdomos are with the Perdomos and the Foundations are with the Foundations, but I don't know if they know what they thought. 3 fucking boxes of Old Man in the Sea were just randomly sitting in a corner somewhere.
That's it, and I like hunting those because because I always keep some and then just sell them on the secondary, get a good deal. Some of these retailers, you walk in and they're not doing so good. And you're like, I walk in, I'm like, hey, I'll give you $2,500 for all that. And they're like, yeah, done, deal. Get it the hell out of here. I came across one retailer. He had a box of Avos, the original that came in the piano, and it was the lacquered, and it was, super rare. I don't know if anybody's ever still has one for, I haven't seen one in 10 years. And, he wanted like $1,000 for the box. And I'm like, it took me a year to get him to come off of it. And I gave him $700 for it. And I sold it for $3,000 like a month later, and I'm like, I know people, but so I hunt things like that. I hunt things like that.
Sure. Those kind of scores. Yeah. I had a good score once. Retailer down in Fort Lauderdale, but he had a box of, what is it? What was it? The Opus 22. Remember the big Opus box and it had all the Opus in it in coffins?
Oh yeah.
So this guy had been sitting on it forever. I was like, look, dude, I'm not going to buy the whole box. But I'll buy some of them. You want to give me a price? I'll take some. You haven't sold one. And the guy just did the math. He was like, whatever. Give me $45 a piece and, whichever ones you want. I was like, oh, okay. BBMF, $45, BBMF, 40. What else can I get for fucking $45 out of this fancy Opus box?
God, yeah.
Yeah, that was a score.
Yeah,
but that's how it is sometimes. Like Kevin said, some guys like, man, whatever, give me money, whatever. This shit's been sitting here forever. Yeah, you want to? Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, Care years ago, had sent me a picture of it was like he sent me a cigar and he had posted a picture of him smoking an original Camacho Diplomat, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, where did you find that? And he was in some lounge someplace, and he found like 2 like the wheels of them, the original, and he sent me one, and I'm like, do you have any idea what those are worth? And I think he paid like $100 for the whole setup. Those are $100 each,
right?
He'd smoked all, had like one left, sent it to me, but
so you guys,
cigar shops, especially in bumfuck towns, are fun.
Oh yeah,
you guys would know this more than I do. If you had to throw a percentage of shops that don't fully understand what they have, for instance, what they're letting go, how they're doing pricing, or what they even have in the back that's not even sold anymore, that's just they don't understand how to sell it. If you had to guess, would you say about a third of shops?
I'd say 80.
Okay, explain.
There's probably 100 like real, like serious lounge, real establishment across the country, right? I figure hundreds, like, we're talking Smoke-Ins, Fox, Cigars, Internet, like the real. Then you probably got another, 500 middle tier, shop guy know what he's doing. And then you got all those fucking shops across the country where the guy's been selling cigars since the 60s. He still sells most of what he sells is Macanudo. And you know what I mean? No, I think most shops are run by some old guy who's retired, and you know what I mean? And he's making enough money to not have to live on Social Security. Honestly, that's how a lot of shops are.
I'd agree. I'd probably say 75% of the shops out there don't know what they're doing. If you talk to them,
but don't care. They don't care to know what they're doing.
You know, and some of the guys like a shop had opened up here a few years ago, probably going back 5 or 6 years ago, and walked in and he's like, oh, he was like the largest Drew Estate shop in like Wisconsin where he was from. Huge. He retired down here. I know everything about cigars, and so I'm looking through, and he had some original acid 5s from the 5th year anniversary in the metal tins, and I'm like, what are those? He goes, the acid 5s, and and he claimed to be this premier retailer, but he didn't know anything about these cigars. I'm like, how many of those do you have?
How long ago was this?
This is 5 or 6 years ago. So
they're old.
He had their 5th year anniversary for the acid, so I bought every single one that he had. I go, I'll take everything you have. And I kept a few and just resold all of them. And, a lot of retailers like to think that they know what they're doing. And then you start talking to them like, you have no idea what you're doing, do you? You're just buying whatever the reps tell you.
Now, let me ask this. If you were running that shop, Kev, and you had a box of the acid 5s, would you tax the shit out of them and make them a lot more expensive? Like, how would you go about knowing what to do with it? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Oh,
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. To answer that question,
go ahead.
You got to understand what your base is, right? Because if, I got a box of Opus X that's been sitting on my shelf for, 2 years, but I sell 20 boxes of fucking Macanudo Portofino to my old guys every week. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're just stuck with, like, you can get as much fancy shit as you want. If your customer base ain't a fancy shit customer base,
that's true.
They ain't going to try that fucking Crown Heads. They don't care how much you push it on them. So and a lot of those shops were built like that. Like any of us, think about your fucking bumfuck shop that you could think of in your head. It's that old guy. It's the guy. It's that guy. It's this guy. It's, it's, and some shit is just displayed to your client.
Yeah, and some brands don't have a cult following that will spend money on Tatuaje. People will spend money for vintage Tatuaje. Yeah. Room 101 people will not spend money on vintage Room 101. They don't care. They don't care you have, a cigar that's 10 or 15 years old or 10, whatever. They don't care. They're not going to spend it. You can't ask $30 or $40 for a 10-year-old Room 101.
Right.
They're just not going to spend it.
What makes somebody like the same person could be also a Room 101 person? So what makes I'm willing to spend money on old Tatuaje versus I'm not willing to spend money on old Room 101? What sets that mentality?
Because the Tatuaje fan base is bigger, so it's more of a flex on the Tatuaje. Look what I got.
Okay.
And you can't have it. The Room 101, they have diehard followers, but it's not that. I don't find it like they don't flex like that.
You know what it is? It's not as organized as Tatuaje. Pete's got Saints and Sinners. He's got they got Discord groups. Like Tatuaje is organized too. You know what I mean? Room 101 guys are. There's not like a look. Tatuaje guys say you're Saints and Sinners. If you're a Tatuaje guy, you're a Saints and Sinners guy. If you're not a Saints and Sinners guy, you're kind of a Tatuaje guy. You know what I mean? Like hardcore. So, but he has that hardcore. Matt's got them hardcore people, but he doesn't have that like infrastructure. And I think it's just one of those things like. Nobody hunts aged Padrones either.
No.
They aged twice, but nobody hunts. It just didn't become one of those things that are like.
And it's the same with Perdomo. I don't. People aren't hunting old Perdomo. But they buy. But Perdomo people buy some cigars. What's that?
Is there like? And again, this is maybe my lack of knowledge on Perdomo, but is there like? I know Tatuaje had one-offs. He had special limited editions. I don't feel like Perdomo sets the market for a collector. Does that make sense? Like he does. I don't feel like he does the limiteds. He does the one-offs, and like the champagne's been around. Like I don't feel like an old Perdomo would be anything different than a new. Does that kind of make sense? Like there are brands that lend to collecting more.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think the brand lent itself to that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like Tatuaje, for example. Pete, I don't know. Again, maybe it was organic, but that brand Tatuaje has lent itself to aging, vintage. You know what I mean? It's become one of those, right? Where Perdomo, and that's a good point, Ryan. You know, a company like Perdomo, they're not a big one-off type of company. We like to sell our products. We make products to put on the market and keep them on the market. Pete has a solid established one-off brands,
correct,
right? One-off line. So it works, right? So
yes.
that's probably a good part of it too. You know, if you don't really have like one-offs.
And same with Padron.
Yes, to really chase.
Like what's a 10-year-old Padron to a new Padron?
Yeah.
It's probably not going to.
Well, the thing with Padron is
if
just
you're talking like the 80s,
Padron is not a Padron anymore.
Well,
I mean, I've smoked, old Padrones. They just don't taste like Padrones. You know what I mean?
They don't. It's smoking air.
Where you do where you do get the Padron collectors, because I do have a few buddies that are the first release boxes. So like on my 200th episode, a buddy of mine was kind enough to give me an original release of the 80th Padron that was given to him by a Padron family member that gave him a box. He was kind enough to give me one. Like that's where I feel Padron collectors sit. Our first release boxes, not like 5-year release of an 80th.
Yeah, but even those, they're specific guys. Like, look, I'll tell you, it fucking baffles me that there's Padron 15th anniversaries left in the fucking rare and vintage room.
Really?
Yeah. Padron 15th anniversary micro blend cigar smoking still exists in the fucking vintage room. And that cigar is the cigar that became the Padron number 4. That size existed as the smoking micro blend, and they made it a little longer and it came out as the number 4. But yes, there's smoking Padron 15 anniversaries in Maduro and Natural still in the vintage room. Yeah, it's just one of those brands, like I said, right? The aging part of it doesn't draw attraction.
So then let me ask you, both of you have been very saturated in this market, much, much more than me. What makes a collecting like when do you know a brand is a collecting brand?
I don't know.
Like when would you say Tatuaje became a search and find? I need the old ones. Like how long into their existence?
I think he's always been that way. He's such a nerd, and always coming out with the new stuff.
Well, you know what I think dictates that, Ryan, is the demand for when it's new. Right? So this guy drops monsters, right? You can't keep them in stock. You can't get them. You can't buy enough, right? So what happens? That shit that nobody can get, suddenly somebody's got. I couldn't get it the first time around, so he's kind of created that. Yeah, I mean, because look, Pete's been around a long time, longer than. I don't think people realize that because he doesn't, get that family lineage, 100 years. My grandfather was picked, Pete's been around a long time. Monster's been around a long time.
And he clawed his way into the industry.
And he's kept that fucking momentum for years, dude.
Yeah.
October Monster drops are the same every year for like the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Pete's shit. I don't know. He's established that. I think it's the demand up front and the limited up front that makes it desirable vintage. It's like you said, what good
you're
is
right,
because
I was just saying, hey, Crown Heads is like that. Every year, they've got their release and it's a banging year and then it's gone. They don't see those sales and then come back out with that cigar again. Once it's after a few years, once it's done, it's done. And now you have to have it every year.
I'll tell you what, that's an example for me of like if I walk into a shop and I got some old Las Calaveras, I don't care what years, I'm grabbing some.
Oh yeah, you know
what I mean? I'm grabbing them.
Because some years have been, they're always good. Some years,
right? Some years are better than others. But regardless, if they got previous years, I'm grabbing a couple each.
Oh yeah, you're definitely grabbing them. You know, because you know they're normally, like I said, they're gone pretty quickly.
Okay,
and you can never smoke them again. And then you hear everybody raving about them. Then you go somewhere and like, oh my God, they got this 2017 that everybody was talking about. That's the year. If you can find a 2017 Las Calaveras, you know, you got a $500 cigar easily. You know, those guys.
Are you kidding me?
For the 2017 Las Calaveras, that's a $500 cigar if you can find those.
Okay,
like that was like the premier year.
So Jimmy puts up a good question. That's insane to me. Jimmy puts up a good question, a good thing here. Do you feel that social media, especially since COVID, has driven some of the one-off cigar, has driven the search for the old stuff, because now there's a world around it and people are understanding that some of the old stuff still exists, versus before social media, it was you had to walk into a shop to kind of know it existed?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Sure. I mean, it's the access to the information. I mean,
So
but even before social media, they had like those weird like chat rooms and
.net, you know, group.
Yeah, like
you know,
Steve Saka was heavy in those shit. So they had those things. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But was the collecting and the searching that big in the 17s, in the teens, and the 10s, and the early thousands or late thousands versus COVID? I kind of feel like it shot up once the world kind of connected in the cigar industry to the level it has.
No, I would say being like a nerd in this, it's always been, you know, really.
There's always been a subsect of guys, you're saying, that
there's always been, you know, I don't think COVID had anything to do with promoting that search, you know, like that wasn't, you know, the you know, what lit the fire of you know, of the collecting. Well, maybe it helped it out, but
I guess what I'm saying is it lit the fire because it connected. Now people are like, oh my gosh, this cigar still exists. This cigar. I think COVID, the COVID maybe made collectors out of people that only went to their local shop, that are like, oh, I could go outside of it type deal.
Well, sure. I mean, look, everybody was just fucking sitting home online. You know what I mean? So we all had extra time on our hands, dig for shit, look for shit. And I'm sure that was a time, look, I mean, we saw the growth during it, but I'm sure that was a time that, you know, a lot of new people got into cigars, you know, or got into the social. Because look, here's the reality. Most cigar smokers aren't like us.
Yeah,
they're not educated. They don't care to be educated. They enjoy a cigar. Most don't care. Most aren't geeky, part of the culture.
Correct.
And that's okay. You know what I mean? There's watch guys and there's guys that wear a watch. They still count as wearing a watch. They're not seriously. So and the majority is actually that. They're just people that wear a watch. They're not cigar nerds like us. So, you know, that goes to, again, like, you know, knowing your customer. But I think a lot of those people came over during that COVID time, because I mean, there wasn't much you could do besides like smoke a cigar in your own fucking yard. You know what I mean? Couldn't even go anywhere. So I think that definitely brought the hobby to more people that were casual. So you can see the uptick. And I just think it's the ease of information now. Like we said, you know, with social media, with being out there, people could just find that shit easier than they used to. You know, like I said, before you had to find some weird fucking chat room group. Hope I don't even know how they were, like, what were they doing back then? Were they like sending cash, and were they sending Western Unions? You know, it wasn't Venmo and
exactly. You know, and Alex is right about, you know, like we take it for granted that we're nerds. You know, when I had the guys on from the CRA, you know, a couple years ago, one of my biggest complaints was, you know, that they say, you know, hey, you know, we need to go into, you know, we need to help promote this fight against the FDA. And my like rebuttal on that was like, I go into these lounges and the lounge owner doesn't know what's going on with the FDA. Like, you try to have a conversation with these guys and they're like, yeah, I don't know. I just want my cigar. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
no,
hey,
no.
and it's like, well, why hasn't the CRA been putting up sign? Hey, have a sign, in the lounge, like, hey, your rights, could be going away, and have the lounge owner talking with his people about that. But I've talked with lounge owners that didn't know what was going on. Oh, wait, what's going on with all this? And it's just like, wait, you don't know? I mean, this is your business.
That's also a failure. Well, not from the business side, but for consumers, that's also a failure of the CRA for me. I've always, I don't know. I feel like the only email I get from the CRA is when your dues are due again.
I think that's been the failure of the cigar industry as a general. As I have been in this now 5 years, and very active in it for the last 5 years. The biggest downside is the fact that we are our own worst promoters to the world, to what this industry is. We take too much of a leave me alone, I don't care about you stance, when everybody cares what we're doing and will never leave us alone. And I think when you hear shop owners go, oh, I didn't know about that FDA thing, or you hear cigar smokers go, oh, I didn't know about that. It's disheartening, because when you hear something, and this is, I'm a huge gun guy, massive gun guy. I live next to like 5 military bases. I think I should be able to go there on a fire sale every Saturday. And if I could drag it, tow it, fly it, or drive it home, it's mine. Okay. So I can guarantee you, when you go to gun shows, over 90% of the guys there know about the upcoming shitty ass gun laws in that industry that will prevent those. I would be very hard pressed to say that probably less than half of the cigar community understands how close we are to getting this whole entire lifestyle removed. And that's a downfall of the main cigar groups that aren't as loud as I feel they should be.
Yeah, but there's also another problem. Because you said it, right? Like, half of the cigar community doesn't even know what's going on, right? But the problem is, right, that 80% of people who smoke cigars aren't in the cigar community. And that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. Because how many guys that smoke a cigar once in a while, they don't give a shit. Oh, there's no more cigar. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to say it, like, boomers suck.
But there's people in the cigar community that don't know about
the laws. They don't care. Most of the people, they got their supply, like, or they got the money, and like, cigars go up, I'll cut back a little bit, but I'll still smoke.
Yeah, right. They don't care, man. That's half the problem. I mean, really, people don't care. They don't see it. It's not, it's we're invested in it. Forget about business and podcasts. Yeah, I don't want to fucking there to be a world where I can't smoke a cigar. It's hard getting everybody else invested in it. It's hard getting everybody that enjoys cigars that's not a part of the community investing in it. And that's what we kind of need. We need more support than just a couple of cigar community, because there's not enough of us. We're a niche market.
If you were to say how many members are in the PCA, how many members are in CRA, how many members are in the cigar community in general in the cigar groups, would you say what, 2 million?
Well, no. I think the FDA's last, if I remember right, they estimate that there's only between, is it 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 million cigar smokers? So let's say there's only, let's say like 3 million cigar smokers out of 300 million Americans. And I'm going to put it as 90% of that 3 million
are just casual.
They're just casual. They're not in any groups. So, I mean, we could probably only have, a couple 100,000 cigar nerds.
Yeah, but but my point is, like, there's like 3.5 million members in the NRA. All right. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the NRA. I prefer Guns of America better, but Gun Rights of America better. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. My point is, even the casual gun owner that I've run into knows the upcoming shitty laws that might affect their life. They're not a member of a group. They're not in the NRA. They're not in Gun Rights of America. They're not in any other thing, but they know the laws that are upcoming. And I think it's because our cigar community doesn't promote reach outside of the community that it is. The gun community promotes reach everywhere because you're right, Kevin.
Well, yeah,
Almost
but
every gun
that's a
person.
tough comparison. That's a tough comparison because, and you're right. You are right. You're right in that. No, it's not. We're failing, in educating people. But comparing guns to cigars is, it's tough to do that. Look, you're telling me you're going to take my gun. You're taking away my ability to defend my life.
Oh
And my
no, I'm
family's
just
life.
talking about
You're
the
telling me I'm taking away my
information
cigar.
out there. I'm talking about
No,
the
but I know,
information,
but
the way the
that's the
groups get
problem.
the
The
info
problem
out.
is the average cigar smoker doesn't find that information important. The average gun owner does.
Okay.
You know,
That's the problem.
and the average gun owner comes, how many times have you gone in somewhere and they don't have ammo? You can't buy ammo. You can't buy this, so that guy behind the counter, like, oh, I don't have ammo. It's these gun laws that are, these laws or these regulations. And, hey, I want a suppressor. You can't get a suppressor because we got this law coming out. So it's definitely different, because the gun owner sees it, on the daily when they go in. If I go in and they don't have my Dunbarton Salida Red, I'm just going to get something else, because I look at just everything else I can get, so yeah, it's really hard to compare.
Well, where do you guys? Well, I was only comparing guns from the fact that NRA has 3.5 million gun members from last I've looked at. CRA, I think, or not CRA, but Gun Rights of America, I think, has a little bit less than that. A lot of the people probably overlap in both groups, but their voice is much louder outside of their group than ours is as a group, is my point. And there's more gun owners, and so that's a very valid point as well.
Yeah, I think there are definitely more gun owners that don't belong. Some gun owners, they don't want to be tracked. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to join the NRA. They'll know I have a gun. I'm not going to join this organization. They might know I have 45 guns in my closet. So I'm just going to keep that on the down low. But they still know of all the, the rules, the regulations. They know how to vote.
So where do you guys see what states working? Is it Hawaii that's working on the aging out tobacco? What's the generational ban?
There's I think there was a county in Mass.
I know there's a couple of states that are trying to work on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hawaii's one of the worst. Like, we don't ship to Hawaii anymore.
Yeah.
Why?
We can't. They've created this thing where you have to have a special license, and
I got a call. I got a call from my credit card processor the other day for South Dakota, another one. And I'm like, hey, I don't really ship cigars to South Dakota. Like I do have a block on my website for cigars, but I sell other stuff. And they're like, we'd really prefer you just didn't ship anything to South Dakota. Yeah, and then so I looked at my sales, and I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I haven't sold very much to South Dakota over the last 5 years. So like,
I can go without South Dakota.
I can go without South Dakota. That's fine. If someone from South Dakota tries to get something from my website, they give me a call. They can get one of my accessories on Etsy or Amazon or whatever. If my credit card company on my website doesn't want me shipping, they can get the accessories elsewhere. So, but yeah, South Dakota, Utah, you got to have like these licenses now. Then you got to.
And they're the only ones that give the license. You can only get it through them, and they ain't fucking giving it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's crazy for me is I was watching, Cigar Hustlers podcast. They were talking about a generational ban or a nicotine ban, even on like snus packs, and I think it was in some European country. Like, do you guys think that this country will like? I don't see us ever settling for that. A generational tobacco ban.
No. I think the UK passed it. They upheld it. So that's already gone into effect. I think New Zealand has it now. I think Australia is going to it. But Canada is going to try it. But I just don't see us. It's those countries. The parliamentarian countries. I don't see it passing here. You know, I can see like Alex said, I think there is a county like in Vermont or Mass or something
Right,
like
but
that.
these are literally like local counties doing.
Yeah, local.
But there
you know,
are a
so-
few states that are going after generational bans right now. There is a state, Alex, I don't know if you could look it up, but there is a state actually going for a generational ban. And I thought it was Hawaii. I might have been wrong on that. But it was for like anybody before 2008, I think it was.
You know, I mean, it's possible. You know, I don't know what they're. You know, luckily in Florida, it has to go to the. You know, everything like that's got to go to the ballot, and it's got to be a 60%. You know, we're lucky that you know we have a good constitution that they just can't do that. You know, with a simple vote. You know, it's got to go towards the residents. So, but there are states that probably don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, look, cigars generated Florida like $2 to $4 billion in revenue in cigars.
Yeah.
State of Florida. I don't think they're just gonna, you know, Florida's gonna fight for that. They're not looking to give up a couple of billion for a ban.
Well, here's the thing though, is like, is the generational ban going to be written as you're not allowed to smoke, or you're not allowed to buy?
Hawaii and Mass are considered. Yeah, Hawaii.
Okay,
and Mass.
Hawaii was right with it. So, but does that mean obviously you're in Hawaii, you can't really just jump states? But like you're in Massachusetts, you can't just go to another state, buy a couple of cartons if you're if you're over 21.
Yeah, because there's still it's still a federal law. You know, so I don't think a state could ever outlaw you smoking a cigar or a cigarette. Like they can prevent you from buying it, because back when the federal law was 18, I think there were some states that did. I think like half the states were 21 before the federal moved it up. So I don't think they can ever prevent you from consuming
just buying
a product, just buying.
So but they're calling it a ban. So if you're born if you're born after this, they're banning you in the state from smoking. Is that a wrong way to read it? Is that what you're saying? You're prohibited.
I don't know. I haven't read it.
So if you're 16 years old and you're drinking a beer, you can't go to jail for drinking a beer. You can get like a public intoxication, a DUI, but they can't take you to jail for consuming a beer, even though you have to be 21 to buy it. So I would think it'd be the same thing on a cigar or a cigarette. There's no way for a state to prosecute you for consuming a product. It would just be you can't buy a product.
Well, it would legally have to determine what ban means.
Here's the difference. Mass is doing that. Mass is doing sale, right? Hawaii is pushing possession or consumption.
That's awful.
But makes sense because they're doing it where they can do it, in public places.
Okay.
They can't tell you can't smoke a cigar in your house, but you can't smoke a cigar.
Yeah, but possession. So if I get caught and I'm younger than that band with a pack of cigarettes, am I in trouble?
Product seized and a fine ranging from $10 to $50. It's probably a non-criminal, citation. Which is silly.
Yeah.
I would like to be the first guy to get the first cigar smoking ticket in fucking. I don't even want to sue him. I'll fucking frame it. What do you mean? Are you kidding me? I want that. I want to be. I want the first ticket. I'll gladly pay that.
It's funny. You can't smoke cigars on the beaches in Hawaii unless your feet are in the water. So as long as you're walking along the shore and your feet are in the water, you're allowed to smoke. You're allowed to smoke cigars. Yeah.
It's crazy to me though, like how it's the word ban, right? That bothers me. So the way you just read that, Alex, tells me that if I am older, if I'm younger than the ban age, but I'm old enough to actually smoke. So say I'm 21, but was born after 2008. So in the future, I could get in trouble for even having a pack of cigarettes on me if I get pulled over or stopped for any reason, because I'm banned from having it based on if I was born after say I was born in 2009 and I'm now 21. Is that what they're saying? I'll get a ticket even though I'm 21, didn't get them from that state, but I just have them on me?
Listen, I'll tell you, because Kevin mentioned it. Tobacco 21, bro. I had 19-year-old dudes that I had to tell, I'll see you in 2 years. Sorry,
Yeah.
you can't come anymore. I had 19-year-old kids that literally were coming here for a year. Kaiser, so we had Kaiser College. They're 19, 20. They were, sorry, guys, I can't. They changed the law. It's 21. Guys were 19. They've been smoking cigars for 2 years almost. I can't buy. No, I'm sorry, you can't buy a cigar anymore.
And see, that's
Oh, yeah.
crazy because you could go to the military and smoke a cigar at 18.
Well, you can go to military and die at 18 too. Though.
But that's my
And,
point. Like you
exactly.
You should be able. So what's the difference? Because I'm willing to die for the country. I can do things I shouldn't before the legal age of everybody else. Like that's not fair either. Like I should, if a guy in the military can have a cigar at 18, I should be able to have a cigar at 18. If the guy in the military could drink, they probably should under 21, but they don't care. Most of my buddies in the military became alcoholics.
Well, I think once you're on a military base like that, that's that's no longer the state. So if a state has an issue, I don't know. Things change when you're on the base. So, but I don't know.
It's interesting to me that we're trying to outlaw things when like you can't have like it makes no sense to me why Rocky Patel can't. I'm using Rocky Patel because he's probably one of the few companies that can afford it. Buy a Super Bowl ad. But you could have Jack Daniels, you could have Jim Beam, you could have all the Budweiser commercials and alcohols. Yeah, Alex, you and I talked about this on the show when you were out. Alcohol's ruined more lives, killed more people, and destroyed more families than any other known drug on the planet. Like
alcohol lobby has big money.
Yeah, but it's just crazy. Like the very first cash crop we grew in this country was tobacco. Yeah. And I feel like we're like completely like saying fuck it.
I just my thing is like you can't tell me like it's about kids and keeping it away from kids and
it's
we can't use the defining flavors. Like you can't tell me all that is to protect kids when I can literally go buy birthday cake vodka online. Like what the fuck? How are you gonna tell me like fucking vanilla cigars attract
gummy bear flavored vodka. Gummy bear flavored
like
vodka.
Literally, what the fuck? I can buy Gushers flavored vodka, but that's
not I can buy birthday cake flavored vape.
Right?
And Risty got all this shit for what was it? Rocky Road, and what was the other one he put out? Bananas Foster.
Yeah,
like he was literally written letters by other manufacturers going, come on, like unreal.
I love Tom Lazuka. He's my boy. Asylum, I love them. They came out with their banana split, and it was just like, Risty was like, he goes, you motherfuckers, you basically kicked me out of the PCA because of munchies, and here you go.
I know.
And here you go.
And it boggles me how much our community cannibalizes itself for an image that the people making these laws don't give two shits about us. If we self-police ourselves, they want that because it makes it easier long run for them to do what they want to do. Does that make sense? Like the less there is to fight. And that's where the old adage, they came for the guy down the block. Nobody said anything. They came for my neighbor. Nobody said anything. They came for me and there was nobody left to say anything. It's literally that old adage. And that's why I brought up what I did about PCA and CRA versus the gun industry, is because the gun industry doesn't cannibalize it. Well, okay, we don't need to get into NRA history, but they have. But anyways, but like I feel like the cigar industry will jump on the backs of other people doing things that they feel is wrong versus standing up for the right of the business to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Look, I said the same thing even with this whole FDA win we got. That
win.
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't.
It wasn't a win. It wasn't a win.
I was like, wait a minute. I still see flavored cigars up in the air. And I understand if you don't care about flavored cigars, but that's not the point. The point is what you said. The minute you let these motherfuckers in a little bit, they're going to come back eventually and get the rest. They're
Yes.
coming to get the rest.
100%.
They're gonna come get the rest, and then all these manufacturers that have been saying for 10 fucking years, and I've heard them in private conversations. Let's just give them flavored cigars. Let's give them flavored cigars.
Right.
And I keep saying, what happens when 1 million bales of tobacco hits the market because Drew Estate's not making acid anymore?
Yep.
Right.
When a million bales have to be sold, it's going to plummet. It's going to implode the industry.
When Drew Estate's not making acid, fucking Deadwood and Rocky Patel's Java, right?
Yeah.
All that tobacco's now, right?
Yep.
All that tobacco now flooding the market. So I mean, there's going to be an influx of $3 cigars.
Well, or nobody fully understands how much Drew Estate subsidizes the entire tobacco industry for cigars. Without Drew Estate, without the acid,
without
Swisher now is the main company, but without Drew Estate having the fields that they have, growing more tobacco than they need, tobacco's either going to plummet or become super expensive. One of the two things. It's definitely not going to stay the same. And when you lose all of that tobacco, for a lot of people, they don't understand, Drew Estate only grows tobacco that they use. I guarantee you Drew Estate's selling a vast majority of that tobacco that they're not using, but they're still growing it. And if they weren't growing it, we wouldn't have it.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know what you guys think the number is, but I would say 50% of the new cigar smoker is starting off with a non-traditional cigar.
Way more than that.
Sure.
And that's how they get in.
It's the gateway.
And a good tobacconist takes them on the journey to get them to.
Exactly. So that goes away. Does that person even come into the industry?
I don't think they do.
And that's a good point, Kevin, too, that you bring up, that suddenly if there's all this tobacco, because, at least us guys, right? And because I'm too young for it, too, we always hear about the boom, the cigar boom, the, aficionado and the boom.
Yeah.
But one of the things that came out of the boom was hundreds of dog shit cigar companies, because they were just fucking buying up anything that they could buy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, and I agree with you, Kevin. I know so many friends that when you ask them what their first cigar was, it was an acid. I would say the vast majority of cigar smokers today in the last decade that have gotten into cigars have been because of smoking an acid. Buddy's got one at the golf course. He got an extra one. It's a sweet tip. Don't worry, it's good. It gets them into it. And then they kind of develop that flavor for additional cigars. But it's only because it's still really fucking good tobacco. I mean, it's grade A tobacco all the way through it. So it's not like you're going and buying, not denigrating Swisher, but you're not buying like a Swisher Sweet is my point. I feel that giving away flavored cigars won't stop them from coming after others. It's less of an obstacle for them, in my opinion. And that's why I think we need to stand up for them.
Like I said, you give them the non-traditional cigars, flavored, defining, whatever you want to use. You give them that, and then we've said it before in the past. I guarantee the next thing they do, what is a defining flavor, and someone in one of these, anti-smoking groups is going to pull up a review from Charlie Minato at Half Wheel, and be like, hey, this doesn't have any. Yeah. He's got chocolate and gingerbread, and it's not just Charlie. I mean, they all do it.
Right. That's what we do. It's what reviewers do. They fucking commit it to something that reminds them.
Exactly. But it's on the website. I can go. This guy reviewed it and said he got chocolate and graham crackers, and this manufacturer has it on their website, notes of chocolate and graham crackers, and this retailer has it on his website.
Right. They're advertising flavors.
Yeah, that's the note you're getting. That has to be a characterizing flavor. There must be something in that cigar that's giving it notes of chocolate and graham crackers.
That's the scary
So,
side.
so I
Right.
think that like that cigar, we need to take that cigar away because that has defining characteristics.
Bruce says marzipan.
Marzipan, yeah.
That was one of the weirdest reviews I read from Charlie. When he said he had
But it's funny
marzipan.
because that's why you see, and hence part of your Abe project came from. You see a lot of these vape and cigarette companies grabbing up these names that aren't, what is, you see that Azure, you see that's what's close to blue, what's close to lemon, what's close. They're grabbing up these names that aren't, because look, a lot of names are going to have to change.
Yeah.
It's just,
you know what I find interesting, because I got got a couple of we have medicinal marijuana here, and they have it in a couple states, but it's funny because it's not federally regulated and it's just like states, and they all still have those like weird names like banana kush, and I tell them, saying, you guys have no idea, that shit is gone. That shit is going to be yellow kush when that shit finally gets all them fancy names you guys think, all those cool names, that shit is gone once you get federally like regulated.
Well, I don't know,
fucking, dog hammer, double barrel, blaster, fucking kush ain't gonna work once you're federally legal.
You make a really good point, and actually I think Colorado is the only state that actually has marijuana baked into its state constitution. That's what made. So when Obama was in here, Colorado went legal, right? And one of the things that made Obama take a little bit of pause from my research on this was the fact that, like, unlike California, which was a proposition, the state could rip that proposition away, right? It's not a law, right? So it was just a voted proposition. So California, if the government ever actually buckled in on California could end marijuana like this.
Yeah.
Colorado baked it into the Constitution. So Colorado the Attorney General would actually have to sue the federal government. California wouldn't have to back it, wouldn't have to fight it in court. They would just say, okay, we're done. But Colorado would be physically forced to fight it. And I think that's one of the reasons why when Obama came in, Colorado passed it shortly after, and he just kind of said, leave him alone, because they didn't want the fight.
That's also, like, honestly, it's a little bit of a scary thing too. Like, if and when, and eventually that will happen, right? I assume. Are we going to get sucked into that shit too? Because we got sucked into vapes, bro. Everybody was cruising smooth. Cigars were no big fucking deal. There wasn't a lot of it. We were a stupid niche industry, and we got sucked into the vape world. Like, is that going to happen all over again? Whatever gazillion fucking regulations they're going to put on marijuana once it ever hits federally, cigars are going to get sucked into all that shit too.
Here's the thing. I think you're going to be blown away. I don't think there's going to be regulations on marijuana. I think they're going to let the states completely regulate it, because the states are showing that they can, and they're going to allow the federal government's just going to remove it off of the scheduling list and put it as an alcohol and essentially regulate it like alcohol, which is a very minimal regulation within the state, where the state produces most of the regulations around the product. I think that's the way the federal government's going to leave it. Personally, I think the states are showing that they can regulate it themselves.
I don't think you're ever going to get away from FDA regulations.
Oh, no, not fully. But I don't think they're going to come hard like they did on tobacco. I think they're going to treat it more like alcohol.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
When you go into a dispensary, you got to get carded 3 times to go into a dispensary.
Yes.
There's no way they can make the claim that underage kids are getting it from the physical dispensary. Meaning, like, you can't use a fake ID. You can't use in any way a fake ID. Doesn't work. They scan your ID 3 times.
I get what you're saying. It's not like going into a bar, hanging out, or going into
you can't.
Like, you're literally...
And they're not sold in like a Walmart or anything else.
There's not like dispensary lounges, right?
Correct.
It's not like
you can't smoke in house. Yep. You got
right.
Not in my state. There are dispensary lounges in California and Vegas. There are places like Woody Harrelson has a dispensary lounge. I think it's in California that you can go and rent a room and get baked in. But for the vast majority of it, there's no, like, they don't sell it in the store. Like, you have to go to a
Right. I can
dispensary.
see that. There's no way I see shit like, OG Lemon Raz or
The
whatever
names,
fuck,
the
you know what I
names,
mean?
I agree with
That's
you.
what, like
The
that
names,
kind
I
of shit.
agree
I
with
don't,
but I don't see the federal government ever at this point. Like, we're going backwards with tobacco.
I can see that argument because it's not, even though it's, and in some places it will be legalized recreationally, it's almost not sold recreation. Like you said, you got to go into this place, got to give your fucking ID. It's almost like going to pick up medicine, even though you're buying recreation. It's not sold. Like, I can't just go to Walgreens or go to the fucking corner store and pick up,
And here, when you go to the dispensary here, you give your ID, they scan it, they do the whole looking at it, and then you keep it out. And when you give it to the person that gives you the bud, they look at it, they scan it, they do the light thing again.
It's all they got to make sure this guy that was getting this is the guy getting
correct.
It's
so
all
there's
regulated.
there's no fake ID potential within that world. That's why I think, and every state I've been to operates that way. That's why I think when it does go federal, the states are doing everything possible to not make it a huge liability on themselves by showing that we have this in place to do. Cigar shops, cigars are sold out here. We have smoker friendly. They're sold in cigarette shops. Like, it's different.
In a gas station. You can buy a cigar in a gas station.
Correct.
Yeah.
Even though it's
as you should be
questionable
able
if that's a cigar or not, but
I have and then some people, like, I have no issues with cigars in a gas station. I get some people say, oh, that's part of the problem, but it's like, dude, I mean, what the fuck, man? Why not? Why can't I buy a cigar in a gas station? What is the harm?
Well, it's the same thing like Gary Brooks just brought up. The feds just lost a home distilling case.
Yes.
Like home distilling. What is the difference between making beer and making your own spirits? If I'm not selling it, the government's not getting their taxes either way. I should be able to make whiskey at home. I should be able to make moonshine at home.
Should you be able to grow your own marijuana at home?
You can in my state. You can grow up to, per person over 21, you can have 3 plants flower stage and 3 plants in veg stage per person over 21.
I land on the long spectrum. If you want to fucking grow your own heroin, grow your own heroin. That's how I feel.
Totally.
You can. So you give it that you want to grow your own heroin and do it. Have fucking fun.
Listen, I wrote a paper when I
said, ATF should be the name of a convenience store.
I agree. It could be in Utah, but I wrote and I've said this before. I wrote a paper in college. My teacher gave me an A- on the paper because he didn't agree with the paper, but he said it was written great. It was a 20-page double-spaced paper on how I feel all drugs should be legal at the federal level. And he was a retired cop, DEA, so he was like, I completely disagree, but you make good points. I personally, whatever you want to do in your life, it should be fine. There shouldn't be a thing on it. That's the libertarian in me. I think Alex and I, and probably even Kevin, fall on that too. You take Kevin's Bacardi away. Ooh, Kevin, what would you do if your Bacardi went away?
Just drink Diet Coke. What am I going to make my own Bacardi? Find something else. But I don't know. I think we're still probably 10 years from the whole marijuana making it. Removing it from the list completely. They're making strides. Little by little, but I don't know. I'm not in that space. I don't do it. I've never done it. So I don't know. So I don't stay up on that.
It's almost like, what hits first, Cuban cigars or weed? What gets through first?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
But as a mechanic, and I see every day, you get into a car and it's like, God, did you have to smoke all your weed? What, before you got here?
Right before you dropped it off?
Right before you dropped it off. And then I'm like, fuck, you're out there driving around on the road. I see
you drove here. Yeah, you drove here.
Yeah, you drove here and you're out of your mind, and it's just like they got to figure that out. Now there's a couple of companies that do have some they're prototyping them, to be able to test whether you're over the limit, or you're impaired from that. But that's still, they have to figure that out first.
Well,
that.
The hard part about that is THC is fat soluble.
Yeah.
So the fatter you are, the more you could smoke comparison to the average person. Typically. And it doesn't always, if you're a normal smoker, what I mean by that is your numbers might be more elevated than somebody that's less your weight, and you're still having the same effect. It's not like BAC. That's the problem. It's a really hard thing to do. And even at BAC, there's people that are, can blow a 10 on a BAC and completely pass all their tests. So the number of 0.08 is not really it's more of a catch-all number than a number where somebody's actually intoxicated at. Because you take somebody like Andre the Giant, you take an Andre the Giant who's been known to put down several hundred beers in a night, is totally fine. He put down a 12 bottles of wine talking about how he's completely fine. In the sense of like he doesn't act drunk, he's not slurring or falling over. Like it really, there's no catch-all number for when somebody is drunk, because you can even get a DUI for under 0.08.
But then that's the tricky part with marijuana too, and that Kevin brings up, because with alcohol, and this is the health professional kicking in, alcohol's in and out of your system. Like if you blow, you fucking drank recently.
Correct.
You can't tell the cop, I was drinking
3
last
days
night.
ago. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Marijuana now, this is so I assume, right, they have to figure out what is the levels where it's past, okay, this isn't some shit from yesterday, 2 days ago. Like, where is it like, no, dude, you're high now. With this level tells me you're high now driving. You know what I mean? Because you can't just be like, oh, he has marijuana. He blew marijuana. Well, I smoked yesterday. I'm not high today. There has to be some type of, like, you know what I mean? Okay, he's past the level of this shit could be from yesterday. He clearly was driving high today.
And you know this too, Alex, it being in the drug rehab and alcohol rehab side of the world that you're in, you can snort coke in a long weekend. It's out of your system by Monday. Coke's, I think, got a 3-day half-life in your system. Marijuana, because it's fat soluble, has a 30-day half-life for most people. So you could have smoked marijuana 3 weeks ago and you'll still piss hot.
Sure. But I mean, I think that the real solution to all this, like, if you're still getting DUIs in 2026, you're just an idiot. Like, there's so many cars, so like, you're just an idiot at this point. If you're getting like DUIs and getting pulled over high or drunk on the road at this point,
it's not
grab
worth
a fucking
it.
Uber, man. Grab an Uber, grab a Lyft. There's 37 different fucking car companies. Just get home safe.
I have 2 DUIs, everybody. Okay, I drove through a garage for my first DUI. Like, literally, when I say drove through a garage, I was 21. That's the only thing that really fucking saved me legally. But I mean, I went in the garage in the front, out the back, and I hit the tree in the backyard. Okay, so I drove through the garage. Absolutely waste of money and waste of time in my life. My second DUI was a speed trap. It went from 65 to 45. After the light, it went back up to 65 in Wisconsin. Wisconsin gave me a bad boy slap on the wrist. Illinois fucked me. Like, and both DUIs.
Especially at this point in life.
Like, I deserved it, though. Don't drive drunk.
You know, you think like a guy like Kevin, right? Like, if Kevin were to get a DUI tonight, one of the things that would probably go to his head at some point is like, fuck, I hope Half Wheel doesn't pick this up. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, at this point in your life, it's like, fuck that. That is not, because look, DUI is not a big deal legally. You get trial, you get this, that. But like, fuck that, dude. Or some fucking blotter. Somebody's gonna find my mug shot. It's a fucking nightmare. It's not even worth it.
It's not. But like you said, how are people still getting DUIs? I mean, it's just, you've got a problem, But I see it in the paper,
Right.
Woman arrested for 8th DUI. How is she not in prison?
So there's this comedian named Derek.
She have a license still.
At
what point is it like, you know what? You just can't drive anymore ever.
Yeah.
There's this comedian named Derek Stroop. Now he lives out here in Colorado now, but he's from Alabama. And he does this bit where he goes, we were getting DUIs back when we were earning them. You guys don't
Yeah.
even understand what it feels like to have to stay at your friend's house because Timmy said he was going to be the DD and Timmy's too drunk to drive. And now you're sitting there going, am I even going
Right.
to get home tonight? What am I going to eat? He goes, you kids today just call an Uber and go home. He goes, we had to
Right.
figure it out. But you're right, 100%.
No reason
I don't
at
know
this
why
point in the
you would
game.
get a DUI. $30, $50, $100 is much less than the $5,000.
I have towing. I just tow my whole car home. Ride home with the tow truck guy.
Something. I mean, and
You
again,
know?
like I said, at this point, just it's not even about the legal side. Your fucking mugshot's gonna wind up on the internet. It's not even fucking worth it.
It's
You
not
got,
worth
oh
it.
no, I'm all right. Listen, that's fine. I'm all right. Who the fuck wants to deal with all that? Nah, I'll spend 100 on an Uber. If it costs 100, I don't care. Luckily, I don't get fucked up. I don't have to worry about that. But if I did, I'd be taking a fucking Uber.
And then lo and behold, everybody has seen the videos of the kid that got drunk, and lo and behold, he did something awful, and now somebody's maimed or killed, or like you got to live with that. Like
you gotta live with that.
It was that's a tough thing, but it's funny because we talk literally just for the last few minutes about the dangers of excessively in the name me a time somebody got too much nicotine in their system and ran off the road and killed somebody. Name me name me a time when nicotine is nicotine's Alex, you lift. Nicotine is actually good for your body. Nicotine aids in recovery of your muscles, of your core. It's the excessiveness of too much. And quite frankly, it's not the nicotine in the cigarettes that's detrimental to your system. It's everything else.
Yeah, and I understand to a certain degree that tobacco products, cigars aren't it, but tobacco in general, now it's a societal problem because you develop emphysema. You've got Medicare taking care of you. You've got your insurance taking care of you. You get cancer, and you got, so I understand them wanting to get rid of tobacco for, because it is a drain on society to a certain degree that you don't see, I think, necessarily in alcohol. I mean, you can get, cirrhosis of the liver and everything else, but for cigars to be lumped into that, it was never, never should have been there.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'm generally curious. Do you guys ever feel nicotine withdrawal?
Not from cigars. When I used to smoke cigarettes,
I'm doing smoking cigars now. So
no. I didn't feel the nicotine withdrawals from the cigarettes as much as I think I was addicted to every other fucking substance in the cigarette. So no, I don't. I will not smoke for 2 weeks. I don't enjoy
That's what I'm saying.
those
I feel like
weeks.
there's times, I get sick. I'm sick I've never been sick and been fuck, and the fucking I'm all right. I ain't smoked in 4 days. I was sick. I've never.
But I have been sick when I smoked cigarettes and smoked through my sickness, and that fucking sucked.
I get a little cranky if I don't if I don't get a cigar, something I would say that I'm semi addicted to cigars.
But is that the habit you're addicted to of smoking, or is it the nicotine?
I'm absolutely addicted to it. I could save probably $100 a month on my fucking life insurance if I would just stop smoking for 10 days and go take another fucking test so I could be qualified as a non-tobacco smoker. But I can't do it. I can't stop for 10 days for no reason. What the fuck am I going to do for 10 days?
You got to go see the cigar life guy.
I am going to see that guy. I am.
He'll get you insurance without it. He'll get you a life insurance policy with a company.
Yeah, no, I know. He was a straight smoke. I am going to see that guy. It's when I talk to him. But yeah, that case in point. All I got to do is go 10 days. I can't do it. But what the fuck am I going to do for 10 days? What am I going to do at home?
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
You know what I realized?
I gotta get sick. I gotta get the flu for 10 days.
When I went from cigarettes, I've always smoked cigars, but when I went from cigarettes to full-time cigars, I quit smoking all tobacco for almost 3 months. And I went back into the cigar world and started smoking cigars again. And I realized it wasn't the smoking of the that I enjoyed. It was just the pull into the mouth. It was blowing out the smoke. It wasn't the inhaling. It wasn't the I need nicotine that I enjoyed. That was it wasn't, it was the side effect of it. I realized I just enjoyed smoking.
Well, that's what. Well, that's like you see a lot of people like when they quit smoking cigarettes, is they'll get like the whistle or something because they're just used to fucking. It's the habit of putting some.
Correct. And there's two types of cigarette smokers that quit, and I found out. There's ones that love the smell and will stand next to the people smoking the cigarette, even though they won't because they want the smell of it. And then there's those that absolutely despise the smell of cigarettes. I'm in the latter of that. I don't like the smell of cigarettes anymore, like at all. At all.
I don't like. No, I've never. I saw.
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, no, don't definitely don't like the smell of a
It just
cigarette.
smells like chemical. It just smells like chemical burning.
Yeah.
Weird chemical.
Especially since they did the whole change up for the chemical that they sprayed on it to put the cigarettes out in like 2 minutes of not smoking on it. They did that in like the 2000s.
Yeah, but I'd rather stand next to somebody smoking a cigarette than somebody standing like one of the guys at work like has cherry vanilla vape blowing that shit halfway across the shop.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta smell
fucking clouds and right.
Yeah, and I gotta smell that shit all fucking day, you know, because that just lingers in the whole shop.
Oh,
you know?
it does.
Yeah,
It does. Yeah. And then you get the people with the vape that'll do like the and like push the smoke cloud and try to do tricks like, all right, dude, you understand you're just hooked up a freaking car battery to a like I remember like I came up in that, right? Because I went from cigarettes, I tried the vape things. My buddies came out with like Radio Shack 1980s style mods that had like 16 batteries and they hit it like one time. It's like the house just looks like, you know, Snoop Dogg just left.
It looks like it looks like the Vietnam era radios where you got like the big brick radios and that's what they're smoking out of.
I know.
You know,
they got a harness around it just to hold it.
You're inhaling a quart of oil into your lungs every time.
You know, Ryan, you brought up, you mentioned how cigarettes that were the chemical that they came up with to make it go out, so it doesn't continue. Do you actually know? You know what they did before that?
No.
So Kent cigarettes, and they actually marketed it this way, but they came up with this great safe design for fire safety. And they made their filters out of asbestos because what's more flame retardant than asbestos?
Oh
literally.
My God.
And you're
cigarette
smoking
filters
it.
were made out of asbestos.
And you're inhaling, pulling through. Jesus.
Yes.
Don't
but
chew on that
it's flame
filter.
retardant.
Don't chew on that filter. Jesus.
Yes, Kent cigarettes were made out of asbestos until the end.
Wow.
That's nuts. You know,
I only know that because I used to work in the asbestos industry.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like to me, and again, it flies in the face of, do we absolutely know what the fuck we're even doing with regulations? Because asbestos was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And now it's got to be completely remitigated out of every single structure and household that it's ever been in.
Well, I mean that, but at the beginning, like lead, like we didn't know lead was as bad as it was, but then as it became more, you know, predominant in our everyday lives, we started to know. Same thing with cigarettes. They didn't exactly know cigarettes were bad at the very beginning. You know, they eventually knew. So, you know, I'll cut asbestos some slack at the beginning. It's a plant that grows. We didn't know that would cause cancer.
And that's the thing. Here's the thing: when you start talking about asbestos, like Romans used to weave asbestos into their tunics for battle because they were flame retardant and held.
I had no idea.
So no asbestos. So yeah, probably not till around the 80s they realized, like, I know we've been using this shit for a couple thousand years, but I'm pretty sure it causes cancer. Maybe we should stop.
Well, you know, but it goes to show it's just like the flip-flopping of laws. Like something's legal, and then minutes later you're now a criminal for possessing it. Guns is a perfect thing with the whole strap. Did you follow that case with the strap for the guy that made the strap for the rifles? because his son was handicapped and he wanted to shoot a rifle, so he made the strap. So it's um a stock with an arm cup cut out and then a band that you can essentially strap to your arm. And they were trying to say that the ATF allowed it, and in like I think it was the last couple of years of Obama, the ATF sued this guy and was going after like 15 years of him being on the market and selling it. They were going back to say, well, it's making the guns being shot easier. Like it's like you're legal, now you're illegal, now you're legal. It just the flip-flopping is just insane.
It's whoever's got the most money. We saw that with diesel trucks, you know, with the
stub. Is that basically what it was?
No. It for handicapped people, they can't go like this. So you would strap if you look up forearm stock for rifle, you'll see exactly what it is. Where it's literally just it's like a stock that straps to your forearm so you could shoot it, but it makes it a shorter rifle now. Because you're not bringing it like this, you're essentially like this, so you're one-handing it. So they're saying it makes it easier for you to kill people with. But the reality of it is it was made for people with the inability to hold the rifle the right way.
Well, listen, all I know is that fucking cornhole player with no arms and no legs had no problem shooting somebody.
And they're dragging him out of the car.
You know, if you get shot, I don't want to say anything about the guy that got killed.
Yeah,
but if a guy with no arms and no legs shoots you,
that's a hard way to go, man. That's a hard. Listen, it's tragic. Like, no, Alex, I don't got an arm. That fucking guy shot. He got killed. He got murdered.
Like,
and the guy had no arms and legs. Like, it's just it just makes it that much.
You mean to tell me in that 45 seconds that it took that guy to fish that gun out and once you saw that gun, like you didn't think shit was going down? Like, I mean, this guy's a pretty stocky guy. Like he's a big little. I'm pretty sure I could have wrestled that gun out of that guy's hand before he shot me.
He had no thumbs to hold the gun in play, right? Really? It's like fighting your dog for their bone. You just gotta pull it out real fast. Well, no, it's the same thing though. Did you see the lady that was all over this?
It's the best video on the internet right now.
Kevin,
have you seen this video yet?
You swear on your hand, and she holds it up.
And he's like, hand the guy.
You hand the guy. He goes, your other hand.
I saw you have a phone in your right hand.
But listen, right. Like, dude, officer, at some point you just got to go. Jesus, my bad. Have a good day, lady. I mean, come on. I saw you with a phone in your right hand. That's it. It's over at that point. There's nothing. We laugh and
she's going to court to fight it.
You turn around. You apologize.
You apologize. We laugh. Everybody has a good day.
You swallow your pride and you just go back to your car. That's it.
You don't even. And if you got a partner in the car, you don't even tell the partner.
You don't even tell them.
She don't have a phone. She didn't have a phone. I was.
Yeah, she was cute. I let her go.
Oh, yeah, right. Like you don't own up to that. You go.
I don't feel like doing the paperwork. She was nice.
You delete your footage for your camera on that one because that guy's got to be like, dude, you pulled over an armless right-armed woman, and you said she had a cell phone in her right arm. And she showed you she didn't. She had a nub, and you still gave her a ticket. Like you would be I could see him being the laughing stock. Like it just makes no sense. You just completely destroyed your case.
Oh God, he's getting killed in the locker room. He's getting killed. He's getting killed.
The props. I just wonder what his nickname is now. You know, he's got to have like you just call him Nubs or something.
Right, Officer Stumpy, right? Something.
That's it. You know, he's got a
Righty.
He's got a perfect nickname. Yeah, so I don't know.
Well,
yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Just to shoot the shit episode, which is always fun. So I really appreciate it. I know it was last minute for both of you, but I always appreciate both of you being willing to last minute jump on. So from the bottom of my heart, guys, really appreciate it. And until we see you all again, smoke what you like. Smoke as many cigars from smoking.com as you can and have a great